Hi, Sean. I think I'll keep the pink and purple pill for later. I don't particularly want to live, but right now I have obligations to family and so forth, so I can't really act on it.
Hey there, my name is Sean. I'm going to skip the introduction today. That message was from a listener responding to the pink and purple pill question. A lot of people responded to that question. I'm going to share some of what they said very soon. Before I do that, a couple of announcements. This Sunday evening at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, I want to invite you to a meeting. It's a members meeting, but let me expand it to all listeners. If you want to join us on Zoom, again, 8:30 Eastern, message me and I will send you the link. Also, I want to thank two people for making a financial contribution. One of them is anonymous. Thanks, Anonymous. The other one is Liv. Thank you, Liv. Now, let's get back to the pink and purple pill question. A question I started asking, I believe, in the fall of 2023. So now more than 100 times, well more than 100 times, I've asked guests that question. You can go back and listen to any of their episodes, of course. But earlier this year, I started asking it in different places. And here is what people said. Now, of course, what is the question? If I give you this pill and you take it, you go to sleep, you don't wake up, there's no pain and nobody knows it's suicide, what would you do with it? And some people said they would take it, and some people said they would save it, and some say they would throw it out. And a few others said something else that I'm not sure exactly what they meant because they didn't tell me. I also asked people when they could to tell me why, like you heard one of our listeners at the top of this episode. For the moment, let me start with some numbers. I've asked this question on 5 polls in Spotify, 1 back in the summer and 4 more recent. In total, 15 people said they would take it, including Keith, who said life is shit. 27 people said they would save it, including Sierra ALC16. Thanks for sharing, Sierra. 1 said they would chuck it, and 1 said other. I also received some emails and texts tonight. In this moment, if this pill existed, yes, I would take it. I'm tired of existing. As it currently doesn't exist, then the reality right now is no. Now, that is from somebody who is probably going to be a guest on this podcast soon. I'm not sure if she wants me to say her name, so I won't. Let me share with you a few emails I received. And again, unless somebody gave me explicit permission to use their name, I'm not. One person said, as for the pill, I'm in. I would take it tonight. Somebody else, I would save it. The reason, it's not possible to know what challenges I may face in the future. In certain extreme situations, your hypothetical pill is a solution that I may reasonably choose. Up to now, I have always wanted to live, and I do not have SI, suicidal ideation. I am lucky and have been dealt a soft life. You might not expect me to be one of your loyal listeners. Your guests and you have made me a better volunteer. I answer 988 calls 4 hours a week. For about 18 months now, you've given me a more realistic perspective of people in pain and made me a much better listener. I have heard all of your podcast episodes. And one more from somebody who would take it. Now, playing along, he says, hi, Sean, playing along with the fictional scenario you have created, and this is a rather long email. I have listened to some of your podcasts, but by no means all, so cannot identify the origin story of this Matrix-like idea and resulting survey. And noting the characteristics of said capsule, I can readily inform you that I would swallow the pill. I would ingest it while sitting on one of the benches at a nearby park so as not to stink up the apartment, as I imagine it would be more than several days before my body was discovered. As for the reasons why, well, a list seems quite appropriate. Permission fully granted to share, though I rather doubt the submission will be selected. You, sir, are incorrect. 60 years of age and have been unemployed since June of 2022. Have been unable to find gainful employment since making decision to leave field of education. Socially isolated. No network of close friends, a product of my introversion, as well as being gainfully unemployed and the negative feelings resulting from that status. Responses to submitted resume have been few and far between. Actual interviews have been even less so. Advancing age suggests that general health will decline. Thinking is that what money I have left will be more a benefit to designated beneficiaries than anything else. I found it increasingly difficult to develop any sense of passion or purpose. In fact, things I once enjoyed no longer bring that same level of engagement. More than discouraged, if not exhausted by the current state of the nation, the present administration, and international affairs. I could probably go on, he says, but you seem to indicate a preference for emails and other communication to be on the shorter side. Maybe so. Anyway, in closing, you are probably familiar with the CDC stats and perhaps even with the information provided by World Population Review. In my research, and this is him speaking, and preparation for this decision, I noted that 2023 witnessed more than 49,000 suicides. That's about 4,083 per month, or approximately 136 per day. This is in the United States. Rounding up, that works out to 6 individuals per hour, or 1 death by suicide every 12 minutes. If I equate this to an episode of Slow Horses on Apple TV, I'm not endorsing Apple TV, by the way, and I have never seen Slow Horses. That's Sean speaking now. He goes on to say, then it means about 4 suicides per episode. Sean here, I suppose the same could be said for the Suicide Noted podcast episodes. He concludes, thanks for taking the time to scan or read. Safe travels as you make your way back to North Carolina from wherever you are at the present time. I don't know where I was when I got this. I do know now I'm in Mexico. I appreciate the text and the emails. Now, that earlier audio message was not the only one. I received a couple more. I want to play one for you now.
I really wish I had that pink and purple pill right now. Yeah, I would take it. It would be a blessing to be gone. I'm in pain. Everything hurts. I just feel like there's no hope. I can't see a future that I want to be a part of. I can't fathom possible solution to any of the problems that I'm having. I just don't feel like I fit into anything. And I feel really bad that I don't fit into anything. I wish that I could figure it out. I wish that I could just snap out of the depression and have my mental health and feel safe enough to depend on other people, but I just don't. Pink and purple pill, that would be such a wonderful solution, and I would take it right now and just be done.
Now, earlier this week, I asked a small community of past guests on WhatsApp what they would do with this pink and purple pill. Now, some of them have answered that in their own episode. Sophia said she would save it or keep it. I'm particular that way. Don't want to leave very many loose threads. Keith, take a great long vacation. Take it. Claire, see my nephews and niece. Then take it. Holly, depends on the day. Yesterday I'd have taken it. Today I'd save it. Ashley, I'd save it. With good days and bad, I want it as an option. Kelly, my answer is the same. I'd give it back. Ambient, take it, because I'm spending way too much time and effort trying to wrap up things. Nobody cares. And this is a good transition because Ambient also sent an audio message. And here it is.
Hey, Sean, it's Ambient. Right now it's December, which is wild. Back when you posed the question again in October, I was away on a vacation in Mexico, and actually only a couple of days after, I ended up getting a tattoo of a pink and purple pill. So I just thought I would share that in a little bit more detail, because the tattoo, the pill, it's not about you or Suicide Noted, the podcast, or it's not even really about my attempts. For me, it's a symbol of the idea of agency and choice, the idea of a reality without judgment and shame, acceptance, that I have a choice to end the pain I feel. And it is also a reminder of the space that Suicide Noted holds, where people can have conversations about the shit that matters, where real listening happens. When I started listening to the podcast, and even when I joined as a guest and recorded with you, it was very much about suicide. I found solace in listening to people who had shared experience. It did help me feel less shitty and less alone. I was able to reflect on and experience ideations after that, and actually know that I was not the only one, and finally feel like I was not crazy. Um, I think it's a shame that the stigma and taboo runs so deep that suicide noted is likely not seen by many people. Or if people do see it or even listen, they may not see the value after just one episode or conversation. So the real value gets lost. Um, Based on your guests, their experiences, my shared experiences, there could be an infinite number of calls to action as a result of your conversations. A big one that I relate to, if we were to put it in kind words, is the systems that treat people should consider the experience of and feedback from the people that they treat. But since I started listening and continue to listen, I have learned that what I most appreciate about Suicide Noted is not that it's about suicide, it's about the conversation, the ability to be vulnerable, um, having no judgment, no expectations, and just being able to talk about the things that make us human. It's about being able to have big feelings and opinions on things that matter and being able to share them without fear, a space to be heard, and the concept that listening can happen without an agenda or need to fix. So for me, it's a reminder that there still is humanity and a glimpse of hope that maybe more of these kinds of spaces and conversations can exist. Um, in general, although suicide is very much still a large part of my life, the reality is I don't always want to or need to talk about suicide. But when I do want to talk about anything that matters, I do want the kind of space that Suicide Noted provides. I want those things I mentioned, the listening without an agenda or need to fix, the ability to be open and honest. So, yeah, that's a very long ramble. I'm sorry. Thank you for continuing this work and continuing to hold a space for these kinds of conversations that matter. Thank you for the pink and purple pill. Just as a piece to end off on, circling back to my experience of getting the tattoo, I was with some people on the trip that I really, I barely knew at all. So we were all getting tattoos. And when I showed the artist what I wanted, one girl asked me what it meant, and I brushed it off. It's complicated, and she respected that. A few days later, another girl asked, and I said very briefly, it's about mental health, mental illness, and suicide. I did share that I had 2 previous attempts years ago, but then based on her reaction, I added, don't worry, I'm in a better place. And in that moment, I was reminded of why we, as attempt survivors, as ideators, why we don't talk. And it made me realize that I want a world where if somebody sees my pink and purple tattoo, I can tell them exactly what it is, and a space where I can have a conversation and I don't have to worry about the other person's reaction or making them less uncomfortable. And that's all I've got. Thank you again, and I look forward to more conversations.
Thanks, Ambien. I'm looking forward to more conversations also. Now, you might be wondering, is this thing over yet? Not yet. There's a couple more places where people responded. One of them is on YouTube. Now we're getting into some social media stuff and it gets a little wonky and weird, I know. On YouTube, because my episodes automatically get uploaded to YouTube as well, there are 4 comments and I want to read them to you. And then I want to share a special message I got from YouTube with you all because I think it matters. Cozy Haven 6835 says, I think it would focus me more sharply on what I'm already trying to do, to wrap up my life in a way that I'm not leaving too much of a mess for others, or all the benefits I can have at least make the lives of others slightly less difficult. I think having the pill would encourage me to do my preparation more intensely because it would give me hope. Hope for peace, a final peaceful non-existence. Ah, how I long for it. Not gonna do it. 32 says I would take the pill. Life just gets harder every day with no options to retire. I would rather end my life and have what little funds I have going to other family members with the hope that it will help them. Brad Bromance 1265, I'd take it because I hate my life. And Meat 4078 said, did I ask you to give me something? ? Did I? Capital D, capital I, capital D, I. Meat 4078, I think, is trying to be clever. Didn't ask the question, but because you left a comment, Meat, I figured I'd share it as well. If you want to actually answer the question, please do that. Now, as you might know, once in a while on social media platforms, one of our posts gets banned. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason, but sometimes TikTok in particular, I think also Instagram, will say, we took this post down, blah, blah, blah. Also, once in a while, YouTube will send me a message. It's the same message every time. I've gotten a few of them, and I want to share it with you because it is in response to this question I asked for an episode a few months back. It says, hi there. We're reaching out because members of the YouTube community, including fellow creators, viewers, or staff, have expressed concern for your safety or well-being after coming across content you posted with topics related to suicide, self-harm, or eating disorders. If you or someone you know is struggling with suicidal thinking, self-harming, or eating disorders, know there is help and you're not alone. Ooh, I have so much to say about that. It goes on to say it's not uncommon to turn to suicidal thinking and self-harm as a way to cope with painful emotions. Talking to someone can help you process these emotions, as well as get support through a difficult time. Oh, that's ironic. They go on to say, we encourage you to use resources listed in our help center if you need support. These include organizations specific to your location. You can also visit a variety of websites to look for local mental health care providers, and they list the websites. And in bold, and this is what perhaps stands out most, we care about you. You are not alone, and help is available. Please take care, the YouTube team. Thank you, YouTube. I appreciate you caring about me, letting me know and reminding me that I'm not alone and that help is indeed available. And if I do click on that help center, there's a list of different organizations, suicide and self-harm support resources, and it goes by country. And not surprisingly, in the United States, the phone number that is listed for both calling and chatting is 988. Most of you know that. What's interesting as I go through this list is there is nothing in Mexico where I currently reside. So I guess the whole point of that is if I am having suicidal thoughts or I'm thinking of ending my life, I suppose I'm fucked. Now, finally, almost everybody who's responding to this question is someone who listens to the podcast or is familiar with the podcast, perhaps on social media. So that's a rather self-selected group of people. It probably skews a lot higher, the taking it and the saving it, than the other way around if I were to ask 100 or 1,000 or 1,000,000 random general people. But several months ago, I did ask a question on Facebook. Now, I realize Facebook is not the best for real discourse, but I was curious, and I asked the Pink and Purple Pill question back in May of 2025. I don't know exactly how Facebook works. I don't know if they're all my friends, and maybe my friends skew a little towards the quote-unquote dark side, but I want to share with you what they said, and then I'm going to say goodbye. And by the way, you can find this on my profile, Sean Wellington. What I wrote: the pink and purple pill lets you go to sleep and never wake up. No pain and no one knows it's a suicide. If I give this pill to you today, what would you do with it? Ashley Patterson, throw it away today. Happy face emoji. And sure, A very interesting question. I would save it and hopefully never take it. A part of me would feel soothed by the option, especially if I came down with a very painful prognosis medically that was illegal to get assisted suicide for. Amy Salloway replied, "This is the life circumstances I've been in for 35 years. Crying emoji." Kristen Lynn Robinson said, "Take it." Darlene Flint responded to Kristen, "Please don't. There are people here to help you with whatever you need." Oh, Darlene. Oh, look, Sean said to Darlene, "Like who?" No response to Sean's question. Deanna Rumsey would keep it. Paul Lamble, "This is one of the best questions you pose on the show." Thanks, Paul. I agree. Chandray Lahiri asks Sean Wellington, "Curious why you asked this question." Sean replies, "I always ask this question. I want to gauge if people want to stay alive if we take away the things or the fears they tend to have when contemplating." No response to Sean's response. Amy Salloway, "I'd take it immediately and thank the pill makers from the bottom of my heart." Well, Amy, it's not real, as you know, but in this fictional case, you'd be thanking me. And you're welcome for making it pink and purple. Larry said, "I would definitely want to have the pill in my possession, but believe an autopsy would discover it." I hadn't thought about that. What if it did? Gretchen Bass, "I'd save it. Certain situations I'm not willing to go through." Sarah Watkins, "I'd save it, and as soon as my dog and cat die, I'd jump on a train, go somewhere I've never been before, walk into the wilderness, and take that lovely pill." Timothy Patrick, "It is something to ponder." Mary Melinda, "I would destroy it. I want the option for something like that for terminal illness, but I wouldn't want it tempting me for difficult times before then." Elena Beth K, "I would save it." Chris Maxwell, "Definitely take it and hold on to it. It's just comforting knowing I have control of my life until the end." Janine Walensky, "Save it." And she includes a link to a YouTube video, which I clicked on, called Cope, award-winning short film. I don't know if it was necessarily award-winning because it seems like everything these days is award-winning, but it's a quick and interesting piece of work. Liz Pardue says, "I'd give it to my friend." Ooh, are we allowing this? I'm not sure, but it is an interesting thing to consider. "I'd give it to my friend who has been wasting in the government care home for 4 years, in and out of hospice. Every time I see her, she tells me she's been begging God to take her home, and because he doesn't, she believes he's abandoned her after 8 decades of serving him loyally. I go to tell her stories and make her laugh, and when I joke that I'll help her end it all that way, she laughs harder." Lenore Field would save it. Sherry Giewald or Guywald. Apologies, Sherry, I don't know how to say your last name. "Hey, what happened to the 90-second stories?" That's completely irrelevant. You didn't answer the question. But I did answer, Sherry, shelved for a while. If you're wondering, that was a storytelling show that I did for a while. It was actually 99-second stories. If you go back on the Grit True Stories That Matter podcast or YouTube channel, you'll find them. It was pretty cool. Stacy Levitz Fisher says, "Crazy question. I'd probably save it." Cindy Vasquez would flush it. H.B. Cunningham responds to Cindy and "kill all the fish." Cindy says, "Dang, didn't think about the fish." Funny emoji face. Sean Wellington says to H.B. Cunningham, "Doesn't work on animals." Right, it doesn't work on animals, but I don't think that was H.B.'s point. Shane Weston says, "I would keep it. If it's only to own it, such a unique centerpiece would make a great conversation starter. I would ensure it's kept away from the kids, but still displayed so I could talk to others about it. I think if I was at the point again in my life, I would be tempted. I mean, who wouldn't? I would make sure I was damn certain I couldn't change my perspective or situation first, naturally. During the attempts over the years, I've gained perspective and I've found nuggets of hope, building up from the times I've been at the lowest, but still find myself trying to stand and fight." John Locken, "I'd start going to more political fundraisers, that's for sure. Ha ha emoji." Okay, here we go. Brittany Mabry says, "John, I'm also so unserious that I'm thinking, market it? Be a piece of shit and market it on TikTok Shop. We're not marketing this. It's not real and you can't sell it." Brooklyn Silverstein, "I have a relative who is living in the aftermath of a major stroke. He's in his 80s, paralyzed on one side of his body, can't feed himself, and has now lived in a nursing home for several years. He desperately wants out of his life. I would offer it to him." Now, originally, there was no option to give it away. It's something to think about, but wasn't really in the nature or the integrity of the question, but certainly a conversation starter. Alex DeVirgilis, "I would store it securely as a dangerous but important tool of mercy." Again, here we go. Knowing there are many obvious use cases existing in hospice situations, I'd ask for many more. Christina Lucci, take it. Angie Hawkins, I would keep it and eventually use it. And the final one, Victor Mott, I'd save it until the pain gets too much. Now, I know that was a lot of me talking, and mostly it was people taking it, a lot of people saving it, not many people throwing it away. But nonetheless, I am sure with the emails and the texts and the polls and this and that, I might have missed a few of you. By all means, please reach out again. I'd love to know your answers to this question, whether you've shared it already or you have not. The best thing to do and the easiest thing to do is leave me an audio message. You can do that on your phone and attach it to an email. Or you can go to speakpipe.com/suicide noted. They can only leave 90-second clips, but you can leave more than one. So what would you do with it and why? And of course, if you want to just write a standard email, that works too. And the next time I do something like this, I will include some responses I got from that national tour back in October. Those were our listeners and a handful of other people's answer to the pink and purple pill question, or in Spanish, La Pastilla, Rosa y Morada. And again, I know it's late notice, but this Sunday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, join us on Zoom. You can answer that question yourself. I'd also like to know what you think about that email that I got sent from YouTube. Some thoughts on shadow banning and why some of these platforms don't let us post certain things, and whatever else you might want to share. Okay, for real. Ciao for now. Stay strong. Do the best you can. I'll talk to you soon.